Good morning, everyone. I'm Pia Brown, NACAC Director of Events and Meetings. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedules to participate in today's webinar, where our goal is to provide you with the basics needed to increase efficiency in the student registration process and help increase student registration and engagement at both virtual and in-person national college fairs. In your roles as student counselors, we rely on you to promote our college fairs to your students as an unparalleled opportunity to meet and follow up with a wide range of colleges and universities from across the world. For this, we say thank you. We could not do this without you. Today's webinar will run for 1 hour and include a review of the student registration form, counselor tools, and best practices from counselors like you. In addition to this information, we've also built in time for Q&A at the end of the presentation. Please feel free to also type questions into the Q&A as we go, as many will be relevant to the full group. We're joined by Holly Lazaro, Managing Director, GoToCollegeFairs, our exclusive technology services provider for student virtual and in-person lead retrieval, who will be conducting today's webinar, starting with a review of the Q&A function for today's webinar. Holly?
Good morning. While in webinar mode, all participants are on mute. However, at the bottom of the window or screen you opened when you logged into this webinar, you'll see a toolbar. Depending on the type of device you're using, you might need to mouse over the bottom of the screen or window in order to see that toolbar. On the toolbar, you'll see an icon labeled Q&A. Please click on that now to open a new window so we know you're all set to use that function as needed. And so you can also see questions as they come up during the webinar. You may find that someone else asks a question you had in mind, so please watch that box during our time together to monitor questions. Please don't use the chat box. We're only monitoring the Q&A box for questions. If you have difficulty with this feature, you can certainly compose a list of questions and send those over to us at the end of the webinar via email, but it's very useful for you to be able to ask those questions now while we're here to answer them and while others might also be thinking of those same questions. Pia, you're muted.
We've spent the last several months working closely with the team from GoToCollegeFairs to bring a new and exciting experience to both our virtual and in-person programs. This important work affirms NACAC's commitment to upgrading technology used to serve you, exhibitors, and students, while ensuring that we're in full compliance with all required data privacy regulations. A few highlights of this new technology includes matchmaking, one-to-one messaging and chat, video chat, live and on-demand presentations, and much, much more. I'll now turn the webinar over to Holly to discuss in further detail.
So thank you again for attending the webinar, and a big thank you to Jamie from the GoToCollegeFairs team, who will be demonstrating the registration process as we explain it here. Before we begin, please note, registration for in-person and virtual fairs is the same process. First, we'll navigate to www.nacacattend.org/fairs. Here you'll see in-person and virtual fair dates. The next step in the registration process is choosing the fair that you will attend. When a student creates a profile, it's password protected for data security and future access. This form is quick and easy to complete. Most students can fill out this online form in less than 3 minutes. Now Jamie has the pressure of trying to match that goal. So she'll be typing quickly through. Next, we have what's called our matchmaking questions. Pia referred to this service, and I'll explain to you a little bit now and more later that this service allows students to quickly identify participating colleges that are a match to the student's desired attributes. Again, we'll talk about this feature in just a moment, but you can see those attributes listed here. Some registration information is required and some is optional. And we do this to allow for speed in registration if necessary. Sometimes you'll be registering students with a lot of time, perhaps in a classroom. Sometimes you'll be wanting to register them right on site. And so those two environments are different when it comes to how much time you have to get the student registered. Once the form is complete, the student is prompted to print the barcode for in-person fairs. A text of the barcode is also sent if the student has included a mobile number, and we recommend taking a screenshot of the barcode for quick access at in-person fairs. Please note, barcodes are not required for virtual fairs. By creating this account, students can log back in at any time to update their profile or access their barcode. Students are emailed several reminders to attend the fair and bring the barcode. A PDF copy of their unique barcode is attached to these reminder emails for their convenience. Please note again, barcodes are not required for virtual fairs. Now I'd like to talk to you about matchmaking. First, to reiterate, the registration process is quick and easy for students to complete. So this allows them to interact with lots of colleges at the fair in more meaningful ways, discussing important factors that indicate whether they are a good fit for each other. At both in-person and virtual fairs, the registration process includes our matchmaking service, as I mentioned earlier. This service matches students and colleges based on attributes that the student selects. And these are very customized matches, since colleges must match at least 4 of the 5 attributes the students selected. After registration, students are emailed the colleges that match their desired attributes, along with some suggested questions to ask the college when they engage them at the virtual or in-person fair. This provides a nice roadmap for the student to use when planning how to approach the college fair. This is important for in-person and virtual fairs because time is limited and there are many college options to explore. Narrowing the options that are truly a match is much better than wandering up and down the aisles hoping to meet a match. The greatest benefit of college fairs is showing students well-matched colleges that might not have previously been on their list to explore and research. Matchmaking facilitates that in new and exciting ways. What you see on the screen here is a sample email for a student who has their matches. So we show best match, these colleges meet all 5 of your attributes, and then a close match, these colleges meet at least 4 of your attributes. Since matchmaking has been in place for a year in our virtual platform, we've seen the data show increased engagement metrics, like the number of booth visits and the number of chats in the booth. Students are just more comfortable talking to colleges when they can see a clear pathway on how to do so. We'll take questions about matchmaking at the end. I know that's an important thing for you all to understand. Now we're moving away from the student registration process and into your free counselor tools. School counselors are a critical part of the college search process, and we recognize that you're an important group for us to serve. But we also recognize that most counselors have too much to do in a day and not enough time to do it. So we've developed some resources to support you as you support your students. At GoToCollegeFairs, you'll find several tools for use in the college fair and college search process. On the counselor page of our website, we're constantly updating resources for your use. Check back often for updated videos, flyers, and other resources. If you need any help with our products or services, you can chat with us live here. If you don't already have an account with us, sign up today. You can get resources like a robust student data dashboard for your school, which we'll show you in just a moment, and also our college counseling monthly newsletter. It's easy to sign up or log in from our counselor page. Next, we'd like to point out some helpful articles on the college search process, which can be found in our resources section. You can pass these articles along to students and parents to help them navigate the college search process. And some counselors create a monthly counseling newsletter of their own, including the relevant articles for different tasks in the college search. We also offer a section on our website with white papers on important topics, and you can certainly use those yourself or pass those along. And if there's a resource you'd like us to provide, just let us know. We're always open to ideas on how to serve you better. Next, we'd like to show you that robust reporting interface that I mentioned, specifically for counselors, which we call the Counselor Dashboard. It helps with tasks that might be owned by the counselor, like tracking student attendance at the fair, or following up with student interest, or perhaps choosing which colleges to invite for a visit to your school. When you register for a counselor account in the way that we showed a moment ago, there is a validation process which ensures the security of data handling. This validation process can take up to 2 days. After you've been approved, you can access your counselor dashboard, and student data is available in real time. To access your counselor dashboard, click the login button at the top of the homepage, GoToCollegeFairs.com. Once validated, again, you'll have access to great tools and reports, starting with student registrations. When viewing data tables, you can filter by event date and filter by the student graduation year. Click the small arrows to change how the table is sorted. And click on the event name to get information on that specific fair. Once you click on that, it's drilling down to our orange table. To get more information on that specific fair, it shows student attendance, which is useful if you offer extra credit or excused absence. This table also shows the colleges a student connected with at virtual or in-person fairs, and which colleges match to that student. So you can use that in a counseling appointment. All reports can be downloaded. Next, we'd like to show you the college interest report. This report shows a 3-year look back at the colleges that show the most consistent interest in students from your school. You can use it for your college visit invitation list, back to school night, or even some school administration reports to show the value of college fairs. Back at the landing page, you see a blue link to print all of the student barcodes for any fair. You can also print a single barcode if needed. If you're attending a fair, we encourage you to print your counselor barcode from right here on the dashboard. Because we know how important your participation is to the college search process, we built these tools to be useful to you in that role. Of course, all of these tools are completely free for you to use. As you become familiar with these tools, we know that you'll find your own use for them unique to your needs. Please share those with us. Collaborating with colleges and counselors like you is how we've developed these tools over the last 18 years of providing scanning technology at college fairs. That ends the presentation part. Now we're excited to start the question and answer portion of our time together. If you have to jump off the call, please know that we will send you a recording of the complete webinar so you don't miss this portion. But for those of you who can stay, let's all make sure that we have the Q&A box open according to the instructions I provided at the beginning. As a reminder, mouse over the bottom of the webinar window to find that Q&A icon. Click on it and you should see, I don't know if there are any questions, but you should see a series of questions, if any happened thus far. And you can review those before typing in your own question because it may already have been answered. But as we begin the process of Q&A, I encourage you to also share with a group any blockers that you're facing in the student registration process. One of our goals in this webinar is to collaborate on those blockers to help you solve for them. So to get that ball rolling, we'll review some challenges we've seen and heard of over the years and offer you some solutions for the most commonly experienced issues. While I do this, please, again, feel free to type your own questions or comments into that Q&A. First, I'd like to show you our newly launched knowledge base. Many of your questions can be answered in the knowledge base, and we will send you the link to this dynamic resource in the follow-up email after this webinar. Actually, Maggie, if you could just put the link into the chat now, that would be something that some people would find useful. There are almost 100 articles in the knowledge base and growing. The articles are organized clearly for you to access what you need quickly. So it's a really useful tool. And then at the top of that screen, you can see also if you have a question that's not answered in one of the articles, you can add a ticket on that screen right there. So we can get back with you personally on your unique question or comment. Of course, one of the most common issues we hear is a lack of time to get students registered for a college fair. So here are some ways we've seen other counselors creatively overcome that time issue. First, many display a poster or send an email with a link or a QR or snap code that directs the student to the registration page. You can publish the information in the school newsletter and on the school website. This one's a creative solution that I really like. If you're transporting students to an in-person fair during school hours and collecting permission slips, require that the permission slip is returned with the student barcode attached. This will show you that the students had registered successfully, and it'll give you a quick assessment of that student's readiness of the fair. If they've generated a barcode, they're registered and ready to go. Remember, it's okay to collect that if you want to, because we're going to send another copy of the barcode to the student prior to the fair, and they can also reprint the barcode at any time using their login credentials. As a reminder, as a counselor, you can also reprint the barcodes individually or in bulk from your dashboard using the tools that I showed you earlier. So no issues with collecting the barcode. You can certainly generate it again in a few different methodologies. If your schedule allows, plan for group registration during school hours. This is really successful because you control your audience and you can get them to do that registration. Again, it takes really very short period of time. Students can do it on a mobile device, so maybe counselors might work with school administration to extend a homeroom or give teachers the ability to oversee registration during one of the classes. Others have actually held a school assembly and included the registration process during that time. If you have a fair early in the year, you might even want to include the registration process during student orientation. You can also assign the registration as a homework assignment or extra credit and have students turn in the printed barcode as completion of that assignment. And lastly, you may want to create incentives to registration like junior or senior homerooms with 100% compliance by a certain date, receive recognition or some small reward. Okay, so now we are ready. I'm going to open up the Q&A box and see what my friends who are managing this box have lobbed to us to answer live. Again, you'll see a couple of categories here. One is the category which I will answer live, and then there's a tab of questions that have already been answered. So, this is a NACAC question. What is the current thinking on opening up more in-person fairs? So I'll let NACAC answer that question.
Hello, everyone. Our schedule for spring 2022 includes 6 in-person fairs, in addition to the 7 virtual that we're offering. We're evaluating as we speak our schedule for the fall. We're also going through an exercise to see how we can reimagine and redesign our fairs to meet to more accurately meet the needs of counselors, students, families, colleges, and universities. So we have a lot going on, and we will be increasing the number of in-person programs beginning the fall. I don't have a definitive number for you at this time, but as we have more information, we're happy to share that with you. So lots going on and lots of great things to come. And again, it goes without saying, thank you so much for your patience and working with us during these difficult times. But we clearly understand the importance of the in-person connection and networking, but are also very, very excited about new features that we're offering, like matchmaking. And I'd be remiss if I did not reference our first virtual fair that we had this past Sunday. The NACAC team was just, we were just amazed at the number of connections that were made, the number of leads that schools were able to generate, and not just about quality, but about quantity. And we attribute a lot of that to these new features that we're offering.
Pia. Maggie, I don't know if you'll dismiss that question. I think that was Bill. You can certainly follow up if you have any other questions. The next question is, do students need printed barcodes or will barcodes on their phones work? So both will work. Certainly they can use the barcode on their phone. We will text the barcode to them if they've included their mobile number. So either one works. As a counselor, it really is a matter of discerning what's the right fit for your students. A lot of our counselors do want to have the complete list of students who are registered and take the stack of barcodes with them so they can hand them out at the fair or on the bus. Those barcodes print out alphabetically, so that's nice for your reference. You can certainly still keep the printed barcodes in play so that everybody who registered is sure to have it, but barcodes on the phone will work. Great question, thanks for asking. The next question is, where can we see the different colleges and what they have to offer? So I'm assuming that this is for virtual. Jamie, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you to navigate to one of the registration pages for virtual so that we can show that carousel to this person who's asking the question. So if you just, yeah, great, thank you. Okay, so Jamie's clicking on a virtual fair. And as you can see, when you get to that page, when you scroll down, the first place that you'll see the participating colleges is here on the homepage. So you can search by institution name, or you can just look at the carousel as it scrolls by. And then once you get into the virtual venue, each college has its own really, really robust college fair booth, virtual booth, which includes up to 5 videos that they can host, lots of engagement tools like we talked about earlier, one-to-one messaging, one-to-one video chat, group video chat, lots of ways that colleges can engage their students in the virtual venue. Actually, Jamie, if you want to on the fly, go into the virtual venue from this past weekend, and maybe we could show that to this particular participant. Might also be useful for other counselors on the call. Hate to ask you to do things on the fly, but thank you for your fluidity there. And so you can see when we get into the virtual venue, Jamie will show the actual college fair booth. So I'll let her do that and take her time. And so you'll be able to explore lots of different college opportunities. You can filter by any of the attributes we talked about, which are matchmaking attributes. Those also are in play for filters at the fair itself. So you can filter by geographic region, institution type, majors offered, campus size, campus setting, etc. And it gives you an opportunity to really see a lot of colleges, but filter them down to the right fit for the student participating. So I'll let Jamie keep working through that. I think it's useful for the counselors to see the venue itself. Okay, so if you have, that was an anonymous question, but if you have follow-up questions, I hope that I answered that question efficiently. By the way, the carousel and the search institution is also available for in-person, so you can see colleges participating at any type of fair prior to attending. Hope that that answered your question. Maggie, if you can dismiss that, it'll be helpful for me to have the right question at the top. Thank you. What feedback have you gotten from colleges regarding the efficacy of virtual fairs? Pia, do you want to talk a little bit about the platform change? Because we did have a great fair this past weekend, but I don't know how much feedback we've gotten from the colleges on the new platform, or I could answer that question from our global platform experience across the market. It's up to you, Pia.
Holly, if you'll start out speaking about your global feedback, and I did reference this past Sunday, but happy to chime in as well.
Yeah, thanks. Good. That sounds good. So what we find in our platform for colleges is that they're really excited about the way that we're generating student engagement at the fair and leads after the fair. So matchmaking is based on student registration. So whether a student attends the fair or not, they're going to be matched with colleges that are a good match to the attributes that they selected. So colleges are really excited about no longer losing the students who register but don't actually show up. And that's going to be a percentage of students no matter what you do. You'll never get 100% of the people who register for something to actually attend, especially since it's free. So what we're doing is we're capturing anybody who registered and we're sending them an email that says, hey students, I showed that email a little bit ago in the slide. here are some good matches for you. And we also send them questions. What we see as that has been put in place is student engagement goes up. So we were watching the entire market, and student participation was about 30 to 35%. We call that the conversion rate. It's the registration to attendance ratio. So by the end of last fall, fall of 2020, people were exhausted with virtual. And so that rate was really down to like 30 to 35% of people who registered for a fair were actually attending. It's not a terrible percentage, but it's not as great. Where's the other 65%? And so what we did was we shifted to show students when they register, not make them come to the fair, but when they register, here are colleges that are a good match. Here are some questions to ask. Here's a video to help you see how to navigate the virtual experience. And what that did was several things. It obviously generated a lot more leads for the colleges, but it also gave students a roadmap. It seemed to decrease their anxiety or perhaps their fatigue in not desiring to attend. And so now our numbers are in the 40 to 50 range, which is pretty good. Some of our organizations have even seen up to 72% kids who register actually attend. And so we believe that matchmaking is serving students on a lot of levels. It's showing them matches, but it's also giving them sort of a picture of how can I attack this fair. It doesn't feel so overwhelming, and they know which colleges to see, what questions to ask, and why to ask them those questions. A student can go into a booth and say, I see that I matched with you on blank. Can you tell me more about that? So really good. Matchmaking has really accomplished a lot of great goals. And colleges are really happy about it because it increases the student engagement, and it also increases the number of leads that they get. So I can tell you that one of the things that I've heard sort of word on the street as we talk to our shared clients is colleges were really excited to see the announcement that NACAC was going to be using GoToCollegeFairs because they know that the platform just offers more opportunities for engagement. So that's the feedback that we heard. Is there anything you want to add, Pia?
No, I think you summed it up. Well, the one thing I'd like to add is that the platform is accessible to attendees a week prior to the fair, so they can go in and peruse it, get familiar with navigating it, maybe take a second look at some of the schools that may be of interest to them. So we're building in all of those tools. Or have built in all of those tools. And I cannot help but go back to the actual show up rate. This past Sunday, we were just a little shy of 50%. So I think that speaks volumes to the response, and then comparing that to leads that were generated. And this was fair number one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the booth visits were really exceptional, which I think also shows students were easily able to assimilate the new platform. It's easy to navigate, and they were finding the booths and visiting the booths. Like the booth visits were really, Pia, I hate to toot the horn of the platform too much, but they were really through the roof. I mean, even beyond what I had expected. So I think booth visits is a really good meter of the students acclimating to this new platform. I mean, they were getting through and navigating around the college fair successfully, visiting booths and engaging. We track booth visits, we track messages sent, messages received, and all those numbers were really strong. And this was, as Pia said, our first virtual fair with NACAC. So all good stuff. And again, I want to say we love your feedback. So if there's really, this is how we continue to develop the platform. So at the end of this webinar, I'm going to be putting my email address up on the screen. Feel free to reach out and send us feedback and say it would be great if blank. So this is how we improve the platform. So it's a work in progress. It's a living organism. We update it all the time, and would love feedback if you think there's something we're missing. Okay, the next question is, the NACAC virtual fair was extremely helpful for our few juniors who attended. Thank you for saying that. I'd like to open up the February 15th to the whole school and to other for the specific fairs, arts, STEM, etc. Can they sign up for multiple fairs at the same time? The answer to that is yes, they can sign up for multiple fairs. They do have to go into each fair to sign up. Joe, do you want to say more about that? Or does anybody from NACAC, sorry, Joe, I didn't put you on the spot. Does anybody want to say more about that?
No, just, I mean, you answered it, Holly. They just have to, once they register, they have to go to each fair and register for each fair they want to attend to. And yes, they can invite their families. You can invite the whole school. You know, just keep that in mind. Whoever wants to sign up for these can sign up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we love that. And we have attendee types that can help to sort like the behavior. So, you know, anybody who wants to attend, it's free. We love high attendance. Okay. The next question says, I like that the app allows for contactless fairs with in-person fairs. With COVID, using the app is such a great idea. Oh, thanks, anonymous attendee. Thank you for that. Just a positive comment. That's really lovely. Thank you for that great feedback. Okay, next question. Oh, pardon my ignorance. That's okay. There are no bad questions. Do the colleges have a live presence during the virtual fairs, chat, Zoom, etc., or is it an all online sequence once they show up? Great question. Jamie, chats are turned off, but let's go ahead in to one of the college booths to answer this question. You can click on any of them. We worked really hard to make sure they're all really fleshed out. Okay, so to answer your question, first I want to show you these blue icons. There are two that are missing because chats are turned off. During the live college fair, which was on Sunday from 1 to 6 p.m. Eastern time, as you can see in the top left-hand corner of this screen, that was the live engagement experience. During that time, there were two more icons in the booth. One said one-to-one messaging and one said group video chat. And so we offer several ways for colleges and students to engage at the event. One is one-to-one messaging, which is like you just open up. In fact, Jamie, if you open up that little chat, it might show your past chats, I'm not sure. No, but you can minimize that, thanks. So you can either message them on screen, like Jamie just opened that box, so you type messages to each other, or inside that box, you can both choose, a student in the college can choose to convert to a one-to-one video chat, supported within this platform, no third-party platform necessary. So right there, you can change over from texting to a video chat. A lot of reps love that. We like our face-to-face. Engagement is really nice when you can see nonverbal cues. So those are both available in the one-to-one messaging icon, which again is not there now because it's turned off, but it would be there in the booth. The other is what we call group video chat, which we think sort of mimics a student wandering up to a table at an in-person fair. So a student may not have a question of his or her own, but may want to hear the questions and answers posed by others. And so they wander into the group video chat. It's like wandering up to the table where there's already a group of people having a conversation. So you go into group video chat, the rep is probably already talking. There are other people in there, some of whom are listening, some of whom are asking questions, and that's a group setting. We like that option for some students who have anxiety. I keep saying anxiety because we know that students do have some anxiety about this engagement platform. Just seeing someone face-to-face can be kind of scary. So we give them a lot of different options for engagement. But the long answer to your question is yes. Colleges have a live presence during the virtual fairs, and they use a lot of creative ways to get that done. The next thing that they also have the option to do, Jamie, if you can scroll down, is presentation. So during the college fair, there's none in this one, but we can maybe find a presentation. They also have the opportunity to do live college presentations. So there's nothing. So maybe they're not showing because they're over and they were just in the live time. But colleges, there we go. So colleges have the opportunity to do presentations that are live, like a particular topic, like, oh, talk to a current student or learn about housing or learn about the honors program. So they can also do live presentations. So there's a plethora of ways that students can engage with colleges and learn more about those colleges. By the way, when a student enters the virtual booth, one more way that we sort of reduce the anxiety for the student is that entrance creates an audible notification to the college. So the student doesn't even have to be the first one to say hello. The college can say, hello, welcome to my booth. How can I help you today? So we've tried to overcome a lot of what we got in feedback from our first iterations of virtual fairs to help students really feel comfortable and confident entering the booth and engaging with colleges. Hope that answers your question. Maggie, you can dismiss it. The next question is, how many colleges are accessible on this site, and are any HBCUs included? So each college fair has a different makeup of colleges. So the best way to see what colleges are available at any particular fair is to do the exercise that Jamie showed you a few minutes ago. Go to the college fair website, through the portal that we showed you, nacacattend.org/fairs, and pick a fair and then look at the colleges that are attending. There are always HBCUs, there are always specialty schools. It's always, NACAC always has a really nice mix of private and public, small and large, 2-year, 4-year. So a really good idea is to just kind of take a look for yourself and see what the makeup is and whether there are fairs there, colleges there that you'd like to take a look at. I hope that answers your question. Thanks, Lenora. That was a good question. These are good questions. I see some things in the chat. Oh, Maggie placed the knowledge base link in the chat. If you want to open that up, you can grab that, but we will also send that out in a follow-up email after this webinar. Okay, Lenora, thank you. Thank you for that nice feedback. So she says it does answer her question and she thanks us. Please let us know if there's any other demo we can show you. Jamie's been great. She's very fluid. She can show you exactly how to get things done if you need a little bit more information on how to get things done. We also have a short 1-minute video that shows the student experience. I believe that we'll send that out as well. So we're going to send out several assets, several materials for you to take a look at following this webinar. And we'll also include a link to the recording if you want to look at it again. Other questions? Is there anything else, NACAC, that, oh, I see another question, but I'll open it up to NACAC. If there's anything that you think that we should drill into, I'll let you think about that for a moment as I answer Sarah's question. How can students reach out to college reps who have attended prior virtual, how can students reach out to college reps who have attended prior virtual college fairs? I think what you're asking, I'm sorry, you can see the nonverbal cues. I'm a little confused by this question. I think that what you're asking is, how can students connect with colleges after this virtual fair? But I'm not sure. But Jamie, this might be a good time to quickly show them the student profile and how they can save their favorites. I don't know if that's going to answer her question, but it's something we can show. And it's nice. Okay, so at the top of this is Jamie's back in the virtual college fair venue. So this is the actual experience. Go ahead and scroll all the way up, Jamie. I want people to see that this is the college fair with all of the top navigation things. So when you're in the college fair, you have the option. You can see that Jamie's favoriting a college by lighting up that star. Once she does that, she can scroll up to her profile and see many things, actually. So let me show you the favorites. This is where she's going to show her college favorites. Actually, Jamie, why don't you, yeah, you're just a bit ahead of me. So she's also going to favorite a presentation that she might want to go back and watch later. So now when she goes into her favorites, that's also going to show there. So this is nice. This is like a little backpack for the student to kind of collect. Here's my favorite colleges, here's my favorite sessions, and I can go back in and have this short list really quickly available to me. You can also go back and download your chats. And so there's a lot of options in your student profile, which you find. Jamie, do you want to click on your name just to show them that they can go back in and change any of their own attributes at any time? So I'm not sure if that answers your question. I'm sorry if I didn't quite understand it, but I hope that that's helpful either way. It's a nice little feature. Okay, are the virtual fairs limited to a certain grade level like 11th or 12th, or can any grade level attend? I would like to share with some motivated 10th graders. I'm going to tell you, my daughter went to her first college fair in 8th grade. Obviously, we live in college fairs. That might be a little early, but she ended up attending a college that she met at that fair. So I would say if you know your students best, you know your students best. And if you think that they would benefit from coming, send them. We don't have any restrictions. And also we do allow them to enter their graduation year. So we colleges can sort and see what class they're talking to, like, oh, this kid's early on the curve, or this one's maybe a little late on the curve. This is a 12th grader. So if a 12th grader attended the January virtual fair, that's okay. They can still apply. But colleges do like to see the grad year, so we collect that in the registration. So really no issues with any students attending. I know that it's become more and more popular to bring middle schoolers to college fairs. So absolutely no restrictions there. Okay, sounds like he, she, they want to know how a kid can connect with a rep that liked when attend but not forget the, sounds like, oh, I see. So certainly if you connect with a rep, first of all, I can say this. When the student lands in the booth, that generates a lead. The rep is very likely to follow up immediately. However, you can also ask for their contact information. Also on the page, most of our college booths, Jamie, if you could go back to the college booth page, they have an option to meet later. So you can set up an appointment to meet with them. Most of them have that option. Do you see the meet later there? And also contact us. So those are little bits of information that the student can collect while they're going through to make sure that they can follow up if they want to be the first one out of the gate on that. But you can rest assured colleges are pretty aggressive about following up with students. So both options are on the table. I hope I answered that question. Hi, Sarah. For example, a college rep was at the Jan 30 fair, student was not. Oh, student was not. Oh, okay, I see. So a college rep was at the January 30th fair. The student was not. The student is now at the February 5th fair, but the university is not. How can they reach that rep? So obviously, universities attend the fairs that they think are best fit for them. Pia, I think you mentioned that you open a little bit early before the fair. Did you also want to talk about how much you leave it open for after the fair so they can visit previous fairs?
We're also, students will also be able to connect with colleges and universities who are at Sunday's fair, as an example, for a week after the fair. So it basically is 7 on the front side, 7 on the back side. 7 days.
Yep, so 7 days. So 2 weeks that you can get in there surrounding that live date. They're both sort of generated from that live date, 7 days before and 7 days after. And so a student can go in there, click the meet later, click the contact us. They can still get in there and connect with universities that are at the January 30th fair. But it would be wise if you think there are colleges that are in this one and not in the next one to connect with them. Although, Pia, I think that the numbers go up and more colleges are participating as we get into the spring. So I don't know if this will be a legitimate concern, because I've noticed that your college participation has gone up as the dates progress through the spring. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. Yes, that has been the pattern.
The trend, yeah. Okay, so okay, you can dismiss that top question, Maggie. I think I answered it. Thoughts on parents attending fairs without students? I have thoughts on this, but I'm gonna let NACAC answer first.
Our fairs are open to students, parents, guardians, counselors. You know, we encourage this. We know that things come up and there's a reason why a student may not be able to attend the fair. I guess as parents, sometimes parents have ideas about where they'd like their kid to go to school, that kind of thing. So no, we are open and we encourage it as well.
Yeah, I would reiterate that. I just launched my second into college, and I admit I try not to be a helicopter parent, but there are times, I mean, especially junior and senior year, they're very social. They may not have time. They may have jobs that prohibit them from coming into the live engagement. So I do think it's a good idea for parents. Jamie, can you look one more time into the college booth? Because there's something I want to show the counselors that's also particularly useful for a parent who's attending perhaps without the student. If you scroll down one of the features of the booth is downloadables. So over on the right side, there can be up to 10 of these, and actually most of UNLV is usually really well-populated booth, Jamie. If you want to really quickly look them up, they do a great job of maximizing their opportunities at the fair. I would just put in Nevada. And then scroll down. So UNLV has fully populated all of their quick links, downloadables, and presentations. And this is what I want to show, not just for parents, but also for students as they come in. This is sort of like your little backpack that you would collect the handouts. So these downloadables, if you want to click on one of those, Jamie, you can see that these are beautiful marketing pieces that you can download and either save to a particular file on your local drive that's like College Fair Search, or print them out if you're a person who likes to look through it on paper. But all of the booths have what they would have at the table to hand out. They have that hosted in the booth. So parents can actually go through the booth, talk to reps if they want to, but they can also just go in and kind of collect materials like they would if they were going to an in-person fair. So there are a lot of opportunities for any attendee type to get a lot of information about colleges. Even, we want you to come for the live, but if you can't make it, there's still a bunch of information available on each college during that preview and post-view time.
Joe, were you going to add something?
Yes, I just wanted to touch in to remind folks that if parents register to go into the site, they will not have matchmaking capabilities. Their students are the ones who have the matchmaking capabilities to match up with the colleges, and they'll send information back and forth.
I wonder if that person's asking about a parent registering on behalf of a student. So you might want to say something about the attendee type, Joe. I'm not sure if you want to do that, but.
So if the parent is registering on behalf of the student and going in as the student, they'll just need to make sure that they have the credentials for the student to log in, like the student's email address and such, because that's who the colleges are going to be paying attention to their matchmaking. And if you can see on the screen, there's a student type, a counselor teacher type, and a non-student type. That non-student type are parents, other family members, guardians, etc.
Yeah, so what Joe's saying is only the student type will get the matchmaking service. I hope that makes sense. Okay, good. Other questions? These are really great questions. I see that we answered 24 questions. That's really great. Anything else we want to add before we wrap up the webinar? Okay, so that concludes my portion of the webinars. We'll keep an eye on the Q&A if you have any last minute questions. But again, we'll follow up with an email probably tomorrow that includes links and documents to help you along in the process of student registration using your counselor tools, etc. And that'll include a recording of this webinar. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Bill. Thanks everyone for attending. We hope you found this information useful. Have a great day.
Thank you.